Most people think the scariest part of driving a truck is the traffic. The bumper-to-bumper crawl through a big city, the aggressive cars cutting you off, the chaos of rush hour. And sure, none of that's fun in an 80,000-pound rig. But ask a veteran driver what actually keeps them alert, what they think about before they even get there, and they won't say the cities. They'll name a road, a specific stretch of highway, usually out in the mountains, that they respect the way you'd respect a loaded gun. Because here's the truth. There are roads in this country where a single mistake or a single mechanical failure doesn't ruin your day. It can end everything. And the drivers who run them know exactly which ones they are. So what makes a road that dangerous for a truck? Why does a hill, just a hill, terrify people who've driven millions of miles? And which routes are the ones that even the toughest, most experienced drivers approach with their hands tight on the wheel? Before we get into it, drop a comment and let me know where you're watching from. I love seeing how far this trucking community reaches. And drivers, I want to know which road on this list you've run. And if life on the road pulls you in, go ahead and hit subscribe, because there's a lot more coming. Because this isn't a story about reckless driving. It's about physics, about what happens when you point 80,000 pounds downhill and gravity decides to get involved. And to understand why these roads are so feared, you first have to understand what a fully loaded truck actually is. Think about the weight. A loaded semi can run up to around 80,000 pounds. That's a small building on wheels, moving at highway speed. And the thing about that much weight is that it doesn't want to stop. It has enormous momentum. On flat ground, that's manageable. But tilt the road downhill, and all of that weight starts working against the driver, pushing the truck faster and faster, and the brakes, the only thing standing between control and catastrophe, have to fight it the entire way down. And here's the first thing most people get wrong. They assume a steep uphill climb is the dangerous part. It isn't. Going up is slow, hard on the engine, but safe. It's coming down the other side that kills people. Because that's where a truck can get away from a driver completely. So, how does that actually happen? It comes down to something called brake fade. When a driver rides the brakes all the way down a long, steep grade, the brakes heat up. And the hotter they get, the less they work. Push them too hard for too long, and they can fade until they are barely slowing the truck at all, right at the moment the driver needs them most. So experienced drivers don't rely on the brakes alone. Before they ever start down, they gear down, and they use the engine itself to hold the truck back, often with an engine brake. The deep rumbling sound people call a Jake brake that turns the engine into a tool for slowing down instead of speeding up. Done right, the truck crawls down under control. Done wrong, too fast, too high a gear, and there may be no getting it back. That's why you'll see those emergency gravel ramps carved into the side of mountain highways, runaway truck ramps. They exist for one reason: to catch a truck whose brakes are gone, giving a driver a last chance to stop before the bottom of the hill. They are not decoration. Drivers have used them to save their own lives. And there are certain grades where all of this comes together in the worst way. There's a descent in Oregon that drivers know simply as Cabbage Hill, a long, winding drop that demands total respect. There's Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado, high in the Rockies, steep and twisting, a name that carries real weight among drivers. There's the Grapevine, the long grade on the way into Southern California, where you'll see trucks crawling down in low gear for miles. And there's Monte Eagle in Tennessee, a stretch with a long, grim reputation among truckers going back decades. Different states, different mountains, but the same story on every one of them. Get it wrong at the top, and the road will not forgive you at the bottom. But here's the part most people never think about. A steep grade is a known danger. A driver can see it coming, prepare for it, respect it. The truly terrifying roads add something you can't prepare for: weather. Because now take everything we just talked about, the weight, the momentum, the long descents, and cover the road in ice. This is a different kind of fear entirely. On black ice, the brakes and the engine brake barely matter because the tires have nothing to grip. A place like Donner Pass, high in the Sierra Nevada, can turn from a normal mountain highway into a whiteout in a matter of hours, with snow and ice and drops off the side. And then there are the remote roads, the ones far from any help at all. The Dalton Highway up in Alaska is mostly gravel, hundreds of miles through the frozen wilderness with almost nothing and no one along the way. Up there, it isn't just the road trying to hurt you. It's the cold, the isolation, and the simple fact that if something goes wrong, help could be a very long time coming. These are the roads that made the whole idea of ice road trucking famous, and every bit of that reputation is earned. So when you put it all together, the weight that won't stop, the grades that punish a single mistake, the ice that takes away your grip, the remote miles with no one around, you start to understand why a veteran driver's respect for certain roads isn't fear of the unknown. It's the opposite. It's fear born from knowing exactly what can happen and exactly how fast. And that brings us to the part the maps and the warning signs never show: the person behind the wheel. Because every one of these roads has to be driven by someone who's maybe been on the road for 11 hours already, someone carrying a load worth more than they make in a year, someone who knows that the next 20 minutes down a mountain demand total focus with zero room for error. That's a kind of pressure most of us never feel at work, and they carry it quietly, run after run, and then do it again the next day. The drivers who handle these roads well aren't fearless. Fearless drivers don't last out there. The ones who last are the ones who respect the road, who slow down when everything in the schedule is screaming at them to hurry, who gear down early, who know that getting home matters more than getting there fast. To most of us, a mountain highway is a pretty view out the car window, something we drive over on vacation without a second thought. But for the driver hauling 80,000 pounds down the far side of it, that same road is a test, one that rewards patience and punishes ego every single time. They make it look routine, and that more than anything is what hides just how dangerous it really is. Now I want to hear from you. If you are a driver, what's the one road that still gets your full attention, no matter how many times you've run it? And if you've never driven a truck, which of these surprised you the most? Or have you driven over one of them without ever realizing what the truckers around you were dealing with? Drop it in the comments. Every one of them helps more people discover the world of trucking, and I read them all. If this gave you a new respect for what these drivers do, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet, because there's a whole lot more where this came from. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you down the road.